Uh, that's interesting question. I don't really know. It just kind of fell together, when you're around someone all the time. I mean, we've so Life on Saturn started out as our music name. Lydia and I, we play several instruments each. Bass, guitar, keyboard, ukulele, learning mandolin.
Any didgeridooing in there?
Not yet, not yet. But so we started doing that, and we got sick of relying on people to record us, and so we just started our own like recording studio in our apartment, and we were recording other people for a while too, and then naturally we got into video work, and it became Life on Saturn Productions, and we started making short films and music videos and skits and stop motion and then we were, and then it always ends up we were doing it for other people again, and I don't know, I think it kind of killed it for us, like doing like art for other people. We rarely had time to do our own music and our own videos that we wanted to, and we just were burnt out of that. So when we fell back on the last artistic thing we did, which was we both do art, and we were kind of like getting into comics because of our hometown had an anthology that we were working on, and we're like, yeah, we should do our own comics. And plus, art was always the one thing that got money. Like we rarely made money off of music and video work, but our art, we always made money off that. So it seemed like a natural progression.
That's wicked. I have like the like storyline in my head of like, one of the members of the relationship saying, "Hey, we should create a comic together," and then the other person just kind of going along with it reluctantly, like, "Yeah, let's keep this shit show on the road for as long as possible, I guess." And then like, it doesn't end up not like it works out in the end because it was like, you guys work together well, but it's that thing of like taking the leap of working on anything creative with the person that you love, is you kind of don't know how each other are. Like I know I'm terrified of letting my wife read anything until like I know that it's good and that I've put like somebody else's eyes on it because if there's something wrong, she'll let me know with like love because she's always kind of like I mean from a visual impairment standpoint, like she's always had my back for like making sure I don't trip over my own feet and shit. Um, so when it comes to like putting out art and professional quality work, she wants to make sure that I don't look like a Neanderthal.
Oh yeah,
So
that's
she's
beautiful.
always yeah, she's always got my back, but it's always also that thing where it's like, that's cool. Don't even look at it.
Yeah, no, Lid has always had my back a lot. Many times I just wanted to give up. I get frustrated, and she's really the one who believes in me. She's the one who keeps investing in me, and now that she's part of the work, she's believing and investing in us, investing in each other. She helps me, stay on track, and I mean, I so far I'm the primary writer, and then she goes through and she edits. But soon she'll be writing herself.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Really cool.
All right. So I'll start this interview, and then we're free to talk about whatever.
Sweet.
So we're here because Fennec, our Kickstarter, is live, and it's not too late to get your copy, even though it's fully funded. The link is in our bio. It's a gritty adult themed tokusatsu. So if you like, Maritoku would be the theme for us here. So if you like Power Rangers, Godzilla, Kamen Rider, any of that, but wanted an adult version, then this story could be for you. Again, the link is in our bio, and we're here with Doug Knight. So from what I've gathered listening to you in the chats on our lesser known comics meetings that we have, you're a cancer survivor,
Yeah, man.
and you have books about people with cancer who suddenly gain powers.
Yeah, my series Chiasm is like the sci-fi retelling of my life as a survivor, and then you swap out chemotherapy with alien molecules. It gave me the ability to create, this pretty cool cosmic adventure, and I've created like a your class of heroes based off of the suffering that they had to go through as children, and then they kind of turn into these wonderful superpowered adults at some point, but some of them are assholes too. Like like the super team, like my version of the Avengers, as the story progresses, called the Ambassadors. You know how like charities have like ambassadors for programs and stuff like that, and so
Right.
they have to like be the points of communication between the Kazi, which is the alien race that I created for it, and humanity. And it's like it's this whole internal politics system that I developed for it, and it's pretty fun. It's fun writing these heroes where it's like one of the characters, Ribbon, when she was a little girl, had spinal cancer, and then when she had alien molecule bind with that, she grew like these crazy wings. And obviously everybody thinks she's like beautiful and stuff, but she deals with all the relationship issues of like having somebody try to live with her when she needs like a condo that can accommodate like a 37-foot wingspan. Like
That's awesome.
so just having fun with that stuff. Like everything that I
Yeah.
do has a pretty strong level of like tongue in cheek and
Yeah,
you
I
know
mean, most creators, I mean, obviously we draw from our life and our own traumas to create stories, but like, yeah, surviving cancer, that's something that's like, man, that's devastating for most people. So like, what is the process of translating that to a comic? And like, have other survivors like read that, and has it resonated with them?
Yeah, I think so in terms of just communicating it, I just go for like the broad stroke, right? Like the monster is the cancer, draw a monster. And then, just supercharge the story and the action element of it so that people can kind of feel the struggle of the battle versus the, trying to talk about whatever medium grade glaucoma or glaucoma, like blastio, blah, 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 blah. So some of the like the really cool successes that I've had so far with it is I did a Christmas market at a children's rehabilitation hospital, and one of the dudes dealing with something, was there originally checking out Super Wicked White Cell Squadron, which is my all ages project. But then when I told him about chiasm, like he really jumped on board with like um how much like kind of badass attitude there was to it. And so he really locked onto that. And other people that have read it, they get it and they get their snickers and they get the chuckles and stuff. I haven't really interacted with too many survivors that like I can pull testimony off the bat, but just kind of getting through to like 2 or 3 people, or, even, I have had, like, interactions at shows where people come up and they shake my hand and they say thank you to me, and it's always kind of funny when you get a thank you because 'cause you're like, "I don't know what the hell you saying thank you to me for, because 'cause I'm just making comic books and, utilizing." I'm exploiting my story so that nobody else can exploit it, right? Um, but, yeah, I don't know, I keep it positive and, especially with, like, the all ages initiatives that I have and stuff, like, I use it as a way of, just showing people that there's a life after suffering and, that you might be in a miserable situation, but it doesn't mean that it has to define what you become and, you know, that kinda positive thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said.
Thanks, dude.
Um, so another thing is that your bio says legally blind. So how does that process work? How do you get art done?
Well, I don't know if my face is in frame. I tried to make this as nice as possible, but you can see that I look pretty close to everything that I work on when I'm working on paper. Um, and so that's what I do for like. Let me see what
So the
my.
mirror that you're in front of, that's part of the process?
No, man, the mirror's just so you can see me working because I
Oh,
have to look so close to it. Um, so I always feel bad when people like watching me draw, but it's mostly cheek and beard hair. Um, so I
that's what
introduced
they
the
came
mirror.
for.
Yeah, that's what they came for. It's you can check out my Cross-Eye Comics OnlyFans. It's called Cheek and Beard Hair. Um yeah, so the mirror is just a way of introducing some like a cool angle where I can include people on the process and dupe them into thinking I'm a lefty. Um but yeah, I look really close, man. I've been drawing and tattooing and painting and all that
Oh, you
stuff for
tattoo, huh?
yeah, I've got about 15 years under my belt. Um COVID, everything shut down everything so long that I never like I found a path into comics and home renovations and stuff a little bit more frequently through the pandemic, so it kind of slowed down my bookings and availability for tattooing. But I've got the stress of understanding not to screw somebody up forever on my back, and I apply that to my art and stuff still.
Well, now I have an unprepared question, but how do you feel about tattoo commissions? Because if I'm being honest, like they are my least favorite commissions.
Oh, like designing someone's tattoo?
Yeah, people usually, well, first of all, they think because you're an artist that you specialize in all art. I hate that. Second of all, they're usually the flakiest customers. I find them very frustrating. Of all,
Yeah.
there's no customer to me that's worse than a tattoo customer. Um, and so
Well,
I'm looking for
okay,
other
so
opinions.
to jump on that, I think that, and I tell people all the time, like when I was like just shop helper, basically, people would get me to draw something for them, and I'd say I can draw it for you, but homeboy's just gonna redesign it for you regardless, so that it's works with his like movement and everything. But it was always just like, oh yeah, draw it anyways, bro, draw it anyways. I want to wear your art. And it's like it's not my art because at some point someone's gonna redraw it. Um,
Right,
so that's kind of a funny thing because like, somebody might ask you to draw something and you put all that work into it and stuff, and then they're like, "That's sick. I'm gonna get that done." They take it to their artist, and like most artists, I mean, back in like when I was like primarily working, regardless, would just be like, "Oh, that's cool. You paid, $150 to somebody to draw that for you. Give it to me for 3 weeks so I can redraw it so it's gonna work as a tattoo." Because it's different black placements, different line widths, like everything plays in a different factor. So I say that from a commission standpoint, if someone's paying you to give them art, sick. Um, I think that like regardless of what it is, it's cool that they're coming to you for that. I think the expectation that people have with um, tattoo designs is that you're supposed to read their mind off of like their very broad stroke statement. And so it's like it's like working with a writer. You really have to lock in to see what they're trying to describe to you to like get a feel of how to like lock an idea down in as few sketches as possible. Because I've been in a position before where it's like, I want a cherry blossom tree. Okay, cool. Draw a wicked cherry blossom tree. And then it's like, oh no, I want it to be more dynamic. Okay, so you draw another one that's way more dynamic. Oh no, but I want it to be like ancient and like, but still feel, young. And so you're like, okay. So then you double down and you draw that sakura tree that feels young, but it looks ancient. And then they're like, oh, okay, but I want to have more foliage through the trees and less foliage around the trees, right? So it's like you're trying to read people's minds sometimes, and I think that's where the frustration part comes in. But then, from a like grateful to be drawing on somebody's skin aspect, you just kind of have to develop the patience of listening to everybody in a different way and seeing if you can lock on to that concept. And sometimes like I've used that as a barometer of not working with people before, where um, if like that concept just isn't even like locking in with me, then I'll say I'm probably not the person to do this project with you. And you never want to turn work away because we're all hungry, but it sometimes is worth saving the headache.
yeah, facts, facts. That's a good insight. Like I had to ask because you're an artist who actually does tattoos. So like I usually have this conversation with other artists who don't do tattoos. Um,
Hmm.
and then as an artist who doesn't do tattoos, one of my least favorite things is like when non-artists always say, "Have you ever thought about doing tattoo work?"
Hmm.
It's like that's not for everybody. I don't know why that's like the
Yeah.
go-to for every person to suggest to artists. It's like
I,
it's more than that. It's like you have to draw on
yeah.
people's skin, and I mess up a
Yeah.
lot. My work is almost 90% covering up mess ups.
Yeah, well, it's also it's time. I think that the like it's a cop out to say that the television shows really jaded people's perspective of like how accessible it is. But there was a time when like if somebody came in and they had a bad attitude, you could tell them a few four-letter words to get them out of the door faster. But now it's like everything is run like a Macy's, and you got to be extraordinarily polite and respectful. And, the standard is set where if you're in a small town, word travels if you're an a-hole to anybody. Um, So that thing of like, oh, you should try tattooing, it's because people have an expectation that they're gonna, like, they're giving you this advice that's gonna propel you to like wealth and extraordinary happiness, and like, you're gonna become like the next, Chris Nunez and all this other like stuff. And the reality is those guys struck lightning and they still had to, pay bills and stuff. And everybody else, every artist like has to suffer on some level. Like, for me, I stepped away from being super available all the time because I was missing milestones with my children's development. And right now, I kind of realize that there's always going to be a chance for tomorrow to, to come for you to make a booking or whatever. But you like, there's only one set of first steps that your infant's going to take. And and you don't want to be like hurting your back or waiting for someone to come give you $85. Um, when you can go catch that on film and then say that you were there for all that stuff when they resent you later, or whatever. Because you're not going to win. Your kids are always going to resent you. But
Right. Yeah, and I guess my last question is: you have a new story coming out called Super Wicked White Cell. What is the elevator pitch of that?
all right, so the Super Wicked White Cell Squadron is my all ages Sentai book designed to, um, you know, mostly get into children's hospitals and kind of help kids going through crummy situations pass time, by reading books and getting inspired by cool artwork. It's Power Rangers meets Captain Planet. When I was growing up as a little half black kid, I didn't have a lot of mixed representation in my heroes. So all the characters in my book are kind of very unique, um, combinations of cultures and people that I've grown up with. So they're all named after doctors that I've dealt with, and they all come from different backgrounds and um, have different characteristics and stuff. Much like your fantastic kaiju project, it's an excuse to draw giant robots punching big old monsters and just having fun. This is the second issue that's in pre-launch right now. The first one did really good. I was able to strike up a fantastic relationship with a charity out of Chicago called Comic Books for Kids. And so every 75 copies of the books that I send them, they pack into a box on a quarterly shipping that they do, and that'll go out to a hospital, one different children's hospital, a cancer center across North America. So it's really cool. Instead of like, donating 20 books to one hospital and having them collect dust, or, like them just throwing them away to like kids who maybe not aren't gonna appreciate the whole experience. It means that like those books are going to one spot where one set of hands is gonna get it, really appreciate it, and hopefully get like the most out of it. Um, and so that's been a really good relationship that I'm, continuing to nurture and strengthen as it's really hard to do while drawing super straight claws. Um, so it's really cool. It's a good relationship to get into. Mark Weiss, the founder there, is an incredible dude, and it's great. It's a good way for market diversification. We On the last campaign, I had a coloring activity book that I put together where I had a bunch of other LKC creators and indie comic book artists from around Canada jump in and add designs to, and that was really fun. I still haven't really decided if I'm going to do another one of those initiatives for this Kickstarter, mostly because the coloring book on its own stands so strongly that I don't want to like, overcomplicate what's available. Um, but I do have the volume one dropping with the Kickstarter. So it's where I combine issues one and two into a 70-page, experience. And I added some of my art prints that I've done over the last year or so, and kind of beefed up the issue. And, I hand painted the cover for it, and just kind of just juicing it up a little bit differently for that one.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing some beautiful things with your art and selfless things. Like that's incredible. Everything you're doing. That's wow. Uh, and I like that your story has Sentai in it. I'm glad that that's like it's increasing in popularity. I mean, one of the reasons I wanted to make a Toku themed story with Fennec is just because I mean, I like superhero stuff, you know, your Batman and Spider-Man, but like
Yeah.
something about the tokusatsu genre always was my genre of heroes that like spoke out to me. I'm still not exactly sure why, but it just really does. And you know, when you look around, I feel like it's slowly becoming more popular again. I think it's coming back, and it'll be bigger than it was in the '90s here in America. It just I don't know, because if you look back at the like the Western era of movies, that lasted like I don't know, like what 40 years of freaking Western movies, and
Yeah.
when you look at the comic book era, it's been going pretty strong for like 20 years. So I feel like we have another 20 to go, and I feel like giant robots and monsters are our next 20 years of superhero stuff.
Well, I mean, like Pacific Rim really redefined what can be done visually in movies, I think. And so I think that there's like a big resurgence going to happen with like the scaling of everything, especially like Godzilla, Kong. Like,
Yes.
I don't think any of those movies would have happened if Pacific Rim didn't have the success that it did. And then like Attack on Titan really got people's attention. I was into it until I realized how much crying there was in the actual show, so I had to tune out on that. It was a little.
You don't like super heavy sad
I'm
things.
not, I'm not about those like those zoomed in eye crying like deep breath scenes. It's like once every 3 episodes, cool. But if everybody's doing it all the time, then that's
It's not as
just too
impactful.
too much emotion, man. But yeah, no, I agree. Like I grew up early '90s. Is when my formative Power Rangers years were. Like I was original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And I just think that like as a having a sports background and stuff, um, the emphasis on teamwork and positivity and especially like adversity through all odds and like it's really it's I don't want to say it's easy to write, but it's fun and there's a level of safety to it. And I think when people have something positive to look forward to, like if you know that they're gonna win, then you know that it's easy to get through. I hate like movies with like bad endings and stuff. So I like to make sure that like even if I'm gonna leave you hanging, like I'll throw you a bone and I'll let you know what's gonna happen in the next episode and stuff because sometimes time is not a luxury for some people, and I would hate to like leave somebody hanging, wondering what the hell is going to happen in my next issues.
Wow, what a what a great point. Um, but yeah. So keep that's all I got for questions and for this interview. So everyone, keep an eye out for the super wicked White Cell Squadron, and keep an eye
Nice.
out for Fennec. Uh, the Kickstarter for Fennec is live now, but the super wicked White Cell Squadron is coming soon, right?
Yeah, issue two's up. Pre-launch page is up, so go hit that notify me on launch button, and I would really appreciate that.
All right. Peace out.